Around the Table with Vickie. Just like gathering around the dinner table with loved ones and friends, we're here to share stories, insight, and inspiration.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for listening to another episode of Around the Table with Vickie. I'm your co-host, Chris Runk, and as always, the star of the show to my right, my honor to introduce her as Mom, Vickie Runk.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. We have such an exciting time. I'm so excited about our guest today.
And Mom, the podcast room, the studio is full today.
Yes, our first time.
This is our first time with having two guests on the show, and we are excited about it. The two wonderful women from the Alzheimer's Association, Jeanne and Snyder, Lissa Greenlee. Thank you for being with us today. And we're excited about all things that we will be talking on for really cover the state of Virginia, really.
That's right.
Well, with Alzheimer's.
And we want to make sure that we answer some questions, we get some information out there. You know, inevitably, Alzheimer's is something that we don't look forward to talking about, right, ladies? It's a necessity. And unfortunately, you know, there's more and more being diagnosed every single hour, every single second. We break all that down. It's the sixth leading cause of death in the United States. So with all of that being said, you know, Jeannie, just take it from here on what you guys want to share today.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Yeah. Well, you know, we're very happy to be working for this organization. It's such an exciting time. And I would say more than ever, we have more hope now on the horizon than we've ever had. But the Alzheimer's Association is the leading volunteer health organization with global accelerated research, risk reduction and early detection, and also maximizing our care and support, making sure that we're taking care of our individuals in all of our communities.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things that when we get together as a group here and we talk about our local community, which is so important to us, what sort of services does the Alzheimer's Association offer community members that maybe are just getting started in the journey? They were just handed down the diagnosis. We were talking about all the pain that comes with that just earlier before we went on air. What sort of advice would you give a local person that needs help?
Reach out to us. Reach out to us so that we can help you. This is something, you know, when you get a cancer diagnosis, you get huge pamphlets of information of what your next steps are. When you get an Alzheimer's or dementia diagnosis, you really don't. And we are here to help you with those next steps. And as far as care and support, we have, first of all, we have support groups, which are very beneficial. We have them virtually and in person in all of our communities. Just in our chapter alone, we have 19, but 2 of those are here in the Lynchburg area.
We do one at Runk and Pratt. So if you're interested and you're listening and you think, how can I get in touch with someone right away? Go to runkandpratt.com, call 237-2268, and we'll get you in touch with Julie Wilson, who is our facilitator there. Yes.
Yes, and I've attended that. Yes. It's very well attended. Yes. It's a great one. You know, we also, a lot of this disease, like you were saying earlier, like some people, it presents at different times. The holidays are often a really prominent time for people when they get together with their family members. So we have a 24/7 hotline that you can call anytime, and those are skilled specialists to help you, talk you through it. You can call at 2 a.m. on Christmas Eve. You can call any time of day or night, 7 days a week, and get those sort of resources and ask questions and be directed in ways where you need some help.
Right. So if somebody were coming to you and just say, what's my first line? What do I do now? I've been diagnosed, and what sort of things would the organization be able to do immediately for that person?
I would probably put them in touch with our care and support person and have them we can do a virtual face-to-face virtual or face-to-face where you meet with and have a consultation, just a consultation, because this disease is so different and presents so differently for different people.
Right. So what's the website for that?
Well, www.alts.org has all that information of where you can go to receive those.
Okay. Talk to us a little bit about research, Lissa, and what's going on. And I've been encouraged talking to you guys today about some really great things coming down the pike.
Sure. Well, as Jeannie said, it's a really hopeful time. And when I think about research, I think about 3 key areas. And the first one is just, can we diagnose someone? So when I'm out in community, everybody has a story about the challenges they've had with being diagnosed. There's not one test that can diagnose you, with Alzheimer's or really any dementia. You've got to go through several, steps to get a diagnosis. So there's a lot of really promising research around biomarkers, which is going to make it much easier to get an accurate and an early diagnosis for people. And then I mentioned there's 3 areas. So the area of diagnosis is one. The second is treatment. So we talked a little bit about treatment earlier as we were just catching up. And, there is, for the first time in 2021, we had our first drug that was approved by the FDA, Aduhelm, that showed the ability to slow the progression of the disease. So it actually exciting. Deals with the underlying causes of the disease. People that are able to take this drug have to be in the earliest stages of the disease, and they have to have amyloid plaque on their brain. And
you explained to me that that's done through a PET scan, and they can detect all of that, and then they're eligible to use the drug.
Yeah, you can get the drug. And Aduhelm. So there's the second drug, Leqembi, which is the same type of drug. It's better. So, there's a whole pipeline of drugs, and I feel like every is getting better. So now Leqembi, I think, is definitely the preferred treatment for people that want to slow the progression of the disease. And then donanemab is one that we expect to be approved in 2024. So that would be the third one. So really promising. And those drugs are only, they're focused on the amyloid plaque. And that is a hallmark of Alzheimer's, but there's over 140 other treatments going on, clinical trials that have nothing to do with that. So it's a complicated disease, and it will take several different types of treatments to be able to treat it effectively. So that's certainly just one line, but that's certainly the one that's gotten the most traction. And then when I think about research, the third area is around risk reduction. And there's a lot we can do to improve our brain health.
So let's talk about some of that, because I know our listeners want to know all that.
Yeah, I think when people think about research, they tend to think about treatments, but we do a lot. We invest a lot in research and lifestyle, and we actually are doing our own clinical trial. It's a 2-year trial, and it's called the U.S. Pointer Study, where we have 2,500 people that are given basically a prescription of exercise, diet, sleep, cognitive interaction, in following this program for 2 years and seeing if it reduces their risk. And they're all people that have a higher risk for getting Alzheimer's and other dementia. So really exciting. But there's a growing body of research. There's a lot of research out there already that the Mediterranean diet is really great for brain health, and that exercising, whether you're walking or weight training or doing yoga, all those things are great for your brain health. And obviously staying socially active. And I know you're very aware of that in terms of your facilities and what you try to do for the folks you serve. And I've seen your different areas, even just in the building
Turn it up a little bit.
When we're sitting in, that's a huge focus of yours and a part of your mission. So, so there's, and I feel like we're a little bit behind with Alzheimer's, but we're catching up. But I think we can look at other diseases and see how much lifestyle changes really does improve your outcome and make a difference. And you're never too old or never too young to really start caring about it. So it's exciting.
We talked a little bit earlier today. We've had some time, the ladies and I, in previous conversation this morning. And one of the things we talked about is for our seniors and families of seniors to really know who you're electing to public office, because it has such an impact on those funds that are being released for research. And so one of the things we talked about was that we really want to make sure everybody ask your candidates, what are you doing for Alzheimer's research? How do you feel about funding for Alzheimer's research? And make sure that the politician that you're supporting is going to be a big advocate for it. Am I not right on that, girls?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 7 million people are living with this disease in the United States. And the majority of caregiving is done by family and friends, because people can't afford, care, because And so there's just
and that's
so
gone
much
up since COVID. I mean, just on our level, I've seen it just skyrocket almost to 30% more since COVID, and that's being passed along to the consumer. And just the idea, too, of I've had some people say, well, Mom got out the other night at home, but we still want to keep her at home. I mean, what is your talk on that? That safety is more important than Mom staying at home sometimes? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the first question we ask when we sit down. One of our program managers sits down with a family. It's like, let's make sure that your loved one is safe, and what is the current situation, and what would be a safe environment.
Right.
So safety is the first
Right.
thing
And
we talk
keeping them
about.
at home isn't always
It's not
the right choice. It is for your heart, but
Yeah.
it's not for the person that's actually, eagerly trying to exit seek. And what harms my heart so much is to turn on the news and hear of a senior that's, just really went outside and got disoriented and wound up in a situation that would cost their life. And because I feel like it's so unnecessary.
And, we've had DSS very involved in our organization. And one of the things they say is making sure that everybody in the family is on the same page about mom or dad.
Yes.
Because a lot of times they're not, or there's denial or things like that, where people are left in their home. And that's when those sorts of things occur. So to your point, making sure that people are educated about the disease and what the resources are.
Right. So we talked, too, about I feel like that families are just so uneducated as to what this journey is going to be like. Christopher, we get families all the time that are just totally not even, on the same page of where we need to be on this journey that we end up being on together. Caregivers have to weigh in, and they have to buy in with that care, because it's so different than just, dealing with somebody that's just got age-related conditions.
Well, and I think things can just escalate so quickly, and you tend to not even want to think about it until it's a crisis. And it's hard to make decisions when it's a crisis. And that's why I think we're really focused on the education piece and the awareness piece. So when people, what are the warning signs, and, what are the decisions you're going to have to make for your family, and how can we put you in a position where you can make them with confidence, like navigate the process with confidence. And I think, with our helpline and the care consultations, and, us being able to share what those resources are, how can we, arm them with the tools so that they can be their own advocates for their family and make what the best decision is for them. Like, it's so important, and letting them know that we exist before it's a crisis.
That's right. That's right.
Because I think that's where it's not fun to make some really big decisions.
Yes.
Like when you're emotional and going through it.
And we also have, supporting the caregiver, making sure, like Lissa said, that they have the support they need. We have Alt Community. So not only do you have your support groups, but you can get on the app and ask for advice or questions to people that are going through the same thing that you are. And then we also have the Alts Navigator, which is something that can kind of help you with what those next steps should look like. So there's a variety of services that we offer to make sure that we're supporting the caregivers.
Right. I know for Runkin Pratt, we've been doing senior living for 32 years, but we've been doing Alzheimer's care now for 24 years. And one of the things that I love so much about our program is safety is first. Even in our care communities where someone's in assisted living and they begin all of a sudden just not acting right, and they begin exit seeking and they don't know where they are anymore, it's always utmost importance to us to form a relationship with that family and help them understand that the secure environment, to where we can make sure that while they're trying to figure out where they're supposed to be, we've got them safe until all of that can be looked into.
Yeah.
And so that relationship with families is just so important, that they trust the information they're getting from you all, the information that they're getting from some of the care communities, that we have to become a united team, or it's so much harder if we're not.
Yeah. Absolutely. And, 60% of people with Alzheimer's or dementia wander. That's a very high statistic. So making sure that we're keeping them safe is very important.
Right. And alz.com is ALZ, so everybody can know what we're saying, .org. ALZ.org is anytime you have any questions about anything, you are looking for the signs, please use that website to go to and wrap up all your questions. And then my next suggestion would be to find a geriatric psychiatrist in your area. Now, a lot of them stay booked. So, but the first thing you want to do is at least get that appointment, and then use your medical doctor, your general practitioner, to try to guide you through any symptoms that they're having before they can get to the geriatric psychiatrist. And that way you've got it covered on both ends. Medications can be given to kind of control the behaviors and then seek help, either through a local care community or at-home sitters. I mean, it just could be that you have to have 24-hour sitters. But, I always say we wouldn't leave a 2-year-old by themselves. Yeah. And we would always want to make sure that they had a responsible person with them. It's no different with the Alzheimer's patient. You just cannot always trust that they're going to make the right decisions once that diagnosis has been given. We want to make sure they're always safe. And I'm a big advocate of that.
And just in Virginia alone, we went up from 150,000 to 160,000 people living with the disease. In order to meet the need of people getting that early diagnosis, we would have to go up 236% in our gerontologists. So we don't have...
Those are staggering.
They're very staggering. Yeah. And that's, the key to what we have right now is early diagnosis. And we've got 2,000 people a day crossing over from early to mid that will no longer qualify for these drugs.
So important to get in now.
Yes.
Early detection. It's the same thing with breast cancer and everything else. But for us, we put a stigma around this thing called Alzheimer's. And how could Dad possibly? He's so smart. How could he possibly have Alzheimer's now? And the family kind of fights against that. We go against the grain. And so, today I want our listeners to take heed that it's of utmost importance.
Well, and I think up until recently, there wasn't much we could do. So I feel like people just were like, well, why bother getting a diagnosis, because there aren't any treatments that are going to help my mom or dad or a loved one. And so, but now that is changing, and the landscape is changing really quickly. And so it does make a difference. And, I think the one thing when you talk about research, like clinical trials are happening all over the United States. And
with great promise.
And one of the best ways to get access to a treatment is to participate in a clinical trial. And the only way you can do that is if you've been diagnosed. And so I think, if you don't, then you don't have the opportunity to participate in some of that cutting edge research. So I think there's more reasons than ever to seek an early diagnosis than ever before. Right. And just that then you can participate in all the life planning with your family and make decisions around your health and do some healthy things.
Don't know. When you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah. You don't know what you don't know.
But also slow the effects of the disease so you can attend graduations, weddings, other family things. That's another reason to really make sure you get in there with an early diagnosis so that more can be done.
Right. So the new drugs actually slow down the progression of the disease. That's why the early detection is so necessary.
Yeah, and that's why you need to be in the earliest stages too. So, because if you've progressed too far,
then we're just managing symptoms.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Do you have something you want to say, Chris?
So I'm hearing you say there's more hope now than ever in the past, right? I mean, how encouraging is that?
I mean, it's incredible. I think it's, and you can see it. We were talking about our advocacy work earlier, and I was in the cancer space for 19 years, and I mean, to go to like the advocacy forum and see how passionate the advocates are for this disease is really incredible. And I think it's been just really, I don't know, just lovely for, I think, all of our advocates to have this hope that they've never had. And it's just been so energizing, I think, to the cause and to the people living with this disease. It's just, it's a special time. It's a very hopeful time. And the one thing we haven't touched on, we've talked a little bit about the hope in research, but there's a new thing that came out called Guide that CMS, it came out of their innovation arm, where it is care navigation that health systems are going to be putting together, and it rolls out in July. And health systems apply to be a part of Guide, and it
links everything together.
It does, and cool. So and like this has been long overdue, and the association has been advocating for comprehensive care for a really long time. So this is a great win. And so the hope is that it's going to improve the quality of life of caregivers and the people living with this disease, and they'll be able to live more independently for longer. But just, I think that is so promising too. We talk about research, but there's so much promise. I think there's just so much more attention being paid to this disease on every front.
And kudos to all of the people and on a federal level that are finally listening.
Yes.
I listened to some stats earlier in our meeting that, Way had us under $1 billion for research, and now we're at, was it 3.9 billion. And so that's why all of these new drugs, it comes from a federal level. And so it is so very important that we elect officials that believe in what we're doing, and it will affect all of us at one point or another. It's a fast growing disease, and we have to get it contained, and it comes from people that care and people that want to step out and say, hey, I want to make a difference.
And, just on the subject of hope, I mean, now we've turned a corner, and we're in a treatment phase of the disease, and that's happened since we've been here. We have now moved to a treatment phase. So we have a very different approach. Now it's making sure that we get out in our communities, making sure that we get into our underserved populations, and make sure that everybody has access to these treatments. And, this particular area has quite a lot, rural outerlying areas is a focus of ours, making sure that we're getting out into these communities.
Well, you guys are doing a wonderful job, and I'm just so proud to be connected with our local chapter here and help you girls along the way. We've got a walk coming up in October. Tell us a little bit about that, Jeannie.
So walk is October 26th, and it's going to be here in Lynchburg. And excuse me for saying this, but it's the what's the lamppost?
The flagpole.
The flagpole, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. It could be a light post too.
Right, sorry.
Center of Windhurst. You can't miss it.
The circle there in Windhurst. And we all kind of get together. And Runkin Pratt's been involved for a great number of years, raised over $300,000.
Yes.
And we were saying we don't really know how much we've raised, but I know it's over that. And we just, all of our communities get together and raise a lot of money every year for the cause. And we're just so proud to lead that walk each year. But not only that, when we come together at the pole, and this is for anybody that's listening that's been newly diagnosed or just needs a community to wrap around, them in their journey. You hear stories of people that are newly diagnosed. You hear stories of survivors, and for people that are truly, invested in the cause. And so that's always a great time of reflection at the pole there. And there's always a special speaker that kind of brings it home, and we rally to get ready to do that walk. But I'd encourage anybody that's listening and watching that's in our local community, and this is nationwide.
Yes.
So you all find your walk and raise some money so that can keep going towards more drugs and more treatment plans.
And, it goes towards research, but it also stays in the communities, and all the local programming that we tell you about, the free programming for families, that's also funded through these walks. That is our signature event to making sure that we fund our mission.
Yeah, and I would encourage any families that have just received the news that, you're getting ready to go into this Alzheimer's journey with a mom, a dad, a brother, or sister, really use the resources of the Alzheimer's Association within it, whatever community you live in. They're there for you 24 hours a day. And then just start going to a support group and learn more. Education is going to be the key to how well you accept and how well you endure this diagnosis. But we're just at Runkin Pratt. We're just so proud of this association. It's come a long ways in the last 3 or 4 years. Just super proud of where we're headed, and just to hear the report this morning that there is hope has been super, super inspirational to me.
And you're not in it alone.
No.
So come to the walk.
Yes.
Reach out to us. You don't have to walk this alone.
That's right.
And Jeannie, this show reaches a lot of folks just not here in Lynchburg. Talk a little bit about how many walks are across the state of Virginia, and what they can do to get involved, because fundraising is so important. And I don't think people realize the money that's given. I know that's a big part of us, is it stays right here in our local communities.
Every little bit counts. So don't think you have to go do a big amount. Just every little bit counts.
Everything. You're absolutely right. We have 600 walks nationwide. Like I said, this is how we fund our mission. And I would say in Virginia, I think we have 28 walks across Virginia. And that's, Richmond, our Southeast Virginia chapter. Our chapter is Central Western Virginia, and then DC and Maryland. So we're part of a region, and we have 28 walks. But if you want to get involved, you can get on the website, www.alts.org, and you can find a walk near you. You can start a team, and as far as the team goes, you can have one person, you can have 20 people. You can, if you work for a company, maybe they'd be interested in sponsorship. The other thing is we can go in and provide programming into these companies because we need to educate people. So we do that. We'll go into any organization and know the 10 signs, know what those signs are and what to look for. So that's something that we like to do to help and give back as well.
Well, Mom, talking about fundraising, one of the biggest fundraisers that Runkin Pratt does all year long is our Alzheimer's golf tournament. And we've been doing it for 7-8 years now.
Yeah, right here at Ivy Hill Golf Course.
At Ivy Hill Golf Course, we raise about $30,000 each year. It all goes back to the Alzheimer's Association. And we're looking forward to it. It'll be in early October. If you would like to participate, put in a team, have a hole sponsor the putting green, the driving range, whatever you may want to do or get involved.
Wear your purple shirt. Come out because we start each set. We have 2 flights now. When we first started, we had to almost let people play free, and now we run over 120 golfers through the day. I just want to say thank you to everybody that supports that. I know you come and do it for us, and we appreciate it. I hope you understand from listening to this show how important your time that day really means to us. Yeah. And there's nothing better than for us to start each flight with me kind of talking about what Alzheimer's is. And each year I've seen when I say, how many of you have family members that are affected? You know, the first little bit, maybe 1 or 2. Now it's almost everyone.
It's the whole field.
And then to see everybody wear their purple to show support. We do a great tournament, so we keep people coming back every year. But I just want to say thank you to all of my friends in the business world and in the community that come out and say, hey, we care. We care because it matters, and they show up for that golf tournament, and each year gets better and bigger every year. And we're just so proud of what we've done there for that tournament. But I want you to see what it's going to. I want you to listen here today as to what it's going to. Every penny gets dumped back into what these ladies are talking about here, is staying local in our community, funds that matter. And so we couldn't be more thrilled to be hosting it again this year. And so just call the golf tournament for that date. Call the golf club for that date.
Or check out Runkin Pratt. We'll put out more information closer to. But we do have 2 flights, one at 8 a.m., one at 1 p.m.
Where can you go raise money and have fun at the same time? Like it is a win-win for everyone. We give away good prizes.
We do.
We have great food. I'm always there to hand out the prizes at the end. It's a long day, but I'm happy to do it.
And it's hard to pick a better cause.
That's right. And, you know, with Alzheimer's, one of the things I want everybody to know is that it's a long, lonely journey at times. And what we're losing is memories. So what we want to do today is encourage people to help us keep those memories alive, vividly in minds of people that matter. And with the work I do every day in our senior care communities, I watch families be stripped apart. I watch the hurt settle in, and then the bitterness, and then the lack of being able to accept it. And what we want to encourage everybody to do today is get on board for a brighter tomorrow, hope for the future, and that there is a cure in sight. And right now, the fact that we're in treatment plans is so encouraging. I've been with you guys now for 32 years in business and 5 years, so 37 years I've been a part of the Alzheimer's Association, and I've watched it. And now to be at this point, it's an exciting time for Alzheimer's research.
Well said.
And thank you for being such a strong advocate and champion for us, because we couldn't do it without people like you. And you certainly are at the top.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Well, it's super encouraging, too, because I'm actually a type 1 juvenile diabetic. So having those, how many years that have gone, I've been a diabetic for 22 years now. And much like Alzheimer's, right now in the juvenile diabetic space, it's the most encouraging time as well there. So I know how important it is to have those medical advancements, whether it's, it's certain technologies with insulin pumps, or now with having new drugs available. It's super encouraging. So that the fact that there is hope there is just resounding, and it's got to give all those folks, the hope that there may be a cure one day. And I know that's why we're all out there walking, holding that final, that first white flower. So really cool. Well, thank you both for being here with us today.
Thank you, girls. Appreciate you all.
Thank you.
As always, Mom, I know you have a special quote prepared for us today, so I'll let you take the floor and close out the show.
If God is making you wait, there's a purpose. If God is making you seek Him even more, there is a purpose. If God is making you persevere, there is a purpose. Blessed are those who put their trust in God, for they will reap a reward greater than what they even prayed for. As we close out this show on Alzheimer's research, Hope for Tomorrow, I hope you join me again next week with more exciting information. And I also want to say thank you to all of those caregivers and those that are suffering with Alzheimer's and dementia. We're in it together.